Linda Cohen and Mark Raskino.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for coming. Did you know that this year is the 50th birthday of the COBOL programming language? The IT industry is broadly then 50 years old, half a century old, and maybe we're reaching the peak of the information age, something that all of you are a part of. But every time you go to fill your car with petrol, you're worried about the price and you're worried about another peak. Big oil is at least as important a force in today's economy as big IT, right? Think about being in big oil. Think about all of the things that you have to do. The research, the exploration, the production, the refining, the retailing, the new energy sources, the oil sands, the chemicals. These are vast businesses, some of them 100 years old, some of them with hundreds of thousands of employees.
So how in a company this complex would a group level CIO build an organization and an operation to deliver cost improvement, performance improvement, and innovation to a set of business units so diverse? Who would want that job?
Ladies and gentlemen, we have with us today the person who would want that job. The CIO of Royal Dutch Shell, currently the world's largest company. Please welcome to the Gartner stage, Alan Matula. Now, what we want to do to start with is we want to show a few videos to you, Alan, of questions that we've got from the attendees during the conference in the last couple of days. So we'll take a quick look at those. Perfect.
How does Shell make sure that their IT infrastructure is up to date? Could you explain what are the key components to make sure that IT and business keep themselves aligned?
What do you believe is the key threat to CIOs in 2010?
Is green IT a part of Shell IT's agenda?
What is Shell doing about innovation in IT?
So, Alan, we hope to get to most of those questions, but before we get started on that, I'm sure many of us are wondering, how did you get yourself into this? What was it in your career path at Shell that brought you to this group-level CIO position?
Well, I've been with Shell for 28 years. In and out of various business and IT positions through the whole time frame. I think what got me here was in the late 90s, we started the whole globalization of the company. I became the CIO of chemicals at the time. Went through a global transformation of chemicals. That parlayed into my role in downstream and taking downstream global. And then around the 2000 time frame, in the group, we were struggling with the IT function. And they asked me to take the IT function global, and we created a study team to actually do that. And that actually started the transformation, which was about 8 years long. So I actually became the group CIO somewhere around 2006, but I've been part of the transformation process, either on the business side or on the IT side, since the middle of the 90s.
So your background in Shell has been in IT, but do you consider yourself as an oil executive or an IT executive?
I think the right answer is you have to consider yourself both. And it depends on what task and what challenge you're trying to face. So when I did the architectural changes around the business in chemicals and downstream, I'd consider myself a business executive. You know, in today's role, it's a combination of both. When I sit in communities like this, I consider myself an IT professional, and you have to balance that. You know, and the art of this, as a seasoned IT professional, and to be successful, you have to maintain relationships no matter where they are, whether they're in the marketplace, in the business, or with IT colleagues, as we have here.
So when you stepped into this global group-level CIO role, what was the mission that you were given?
Well, we actually came from a very bad place. In the late 90s, Shell decided that they were going to spin up an IT unit that would both work internally and externally. That ended up, what I call a laboratory experiment, ended up to be a complete disaster for multiple reasons. One is, as a for-profit entity, we couldn't attract the talent. We didn't have the capital to grow with an Accenture or an IBM or an Atos Origin. But most importantly, we went at odds with our business partners. So oil went down to $10 a barrel. IT was growing at the time because that was the internet boom. And we had a complete crash with our business colleagues. And at that time, we disbanded the idea, and that set in motion the transformation study around rebuilding IT in the group. It was actually called IT for Shell, for that particular purpose, that IT works for Shell. It doesn't work externally.
So IT for the sake of the business was really your biggest mission rather than IT for the sake of IT. So many of our organizations up against the same thing.
So you said you were coming from a pretty bad place. So you're really inheriting a need to do a strong transformation exercise. And when you started thinking about that, how long did you think it would take?
I think most of the people involved thought this was a 3 to 5 year process. And as you both know, we're in year 8 or year 9. We've broken it up into phases. We've gone through 3 distinct phases. But the first phase was probably the most painful.
And so when you were starting that act, how did you decide what really needed to be fixed first?
The big thing in the first phase was rebuilding credibility. So I can't tell you how bad the relationships were between the IT function and the business entities, but they were pretty horrible. The one thing about the event around December, pulling apart the for-profit entity, is it did wake up senior management around the value of IT. Because during that process, we underinvested in IT because we were out looking for profit. Yeah? In that phase, we had a small group of people that did a study around what to do. The first thing we did is we brought in an outside CIO. The view was no one internally can win back credibility. It had to be somebody from the outside. At the same time, we probably eliminated a good 60 to 70% of the senior leaders in IT at the time, and basically went through a transformation of getting new blood in as a way of building a culture that was business-centric. So we started a philosophy that's still there today around IT will be business-centric. And that created a domino effect of rebuilding the function. And we focused really on the basics. We focused on operational performance, project delivery, talent and skills, and we spent a lot of time walking the halls with our business colleagues around, we're in this together to make this work.
What would we call that phase, Linda?
Well, I think that the first phase was the era when you were really starting to take control, is that right, of IT, but for the sake of the business, rather than controlling IT simply to cut cost or standardize, is that?
That's right, that's right. And there was also a huge activity to just get a handle on what we had globally. Because the other aspect of this was to take it global. So the inventories, the understanding of where all the people are, where the costs are, was a process that we thought would take us 12 months. It took us a good 2 to 3 years to really get our handle on everything.
Yeah, so trying to look deeply inside before you try to figure out what would be the best approach to move forward.
Absolutely.
So give us a sense of the scale